My name is Mia Torres, and 7 years ago, my father told me my design degree was worthless and threw me out of his house at 22. Today, he stood in the lobby of my office building, holding a resume, asking if I had any openings. Any openings at all. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up. I grew up in Palo Alto, California, in one of those tech money households where success wasn't just expected, it was mandatory. My father, Richard Torres, founded a cybersecurity firm in the late 90s that rode the dot-com wave straight into a fortune. By the time I was born, we had the house with the pool, the vacation home in Tahoe, the cars that made neighbors stare. But money came with strings, thick ones. My father had a very specific vision of what success looked like, and it didn't include art studios or design portfolios. My younger sister Madison knew how to play the game. She majored in finance at Stanford, interned at Goldman Sachs, came home talking about market analysis and investment strategies. Dad would light up at dinner, asking her about her projects, nodding along like she was presenting to the board. When it was my turn to talk about my graphic design classes at Berkeley, he'd check his phone. "That's nice, Mia," he'd say, not looking up. "Madison, tell me more about that derivative strategy you mentioned." I told myself it didn't matter. I loved what I did. I spent hours in the design lab, working on typography, user interfaces, brand identities. My professors said I had an eye for it. One even called me the most naturally talented designer she'd taught in 15 years. But to my father, I was studying finger painting. Everything came to a head the week after graduation. I was 22, fresh out of Berkeley with my Bachelor of Arts in Design, a portfolio I was proud of, and exactly 0 job offers that met my father's definition of real work. It was a Thursday night. Mom had made paella Dad's favorite. Madison had just gotten promoted to associate at her firm. She was 20, already making 6 figures, already everything he wanted in a child. "A toast," Dad said, raising his wine glass. "To Madison, youngest associate in the firm's history. I always knew you'd make something of yourself." I raised my glass too, smiled at my sister. I was happy for her. Really, I was. Then he turned to me. "And Mia," he said, and I should have heard it in his tone. That edge. "Have you given any more thought to what I said? About applying to that financial analyst program?" I set down my glass. "Dad, I told you. I'm a designer. I've got some freelance work lined up, and I'm applying to agencies." Freelance work. He said it like I'd told him I was selling weed to middle schoolers. "You spent 4 years and $150,000 of my money so you could do freelance work." "Richard," Mom said quietly. She always said his name like that when she wanted him to back off. It never worked. "No, Jennifer. She needs to hear this." He turned back to me, and his face had that look. The CEO look. The look that probably terrified his employees. "Mia, I've been patient. I let you pursue this design thing because I thought you'd grow out of it. But you graduated 3 months ago. You're still living in my house, still eating my food, still using my money. And for what? So you can make logos for nobody clients who'll pay you in exposure?" My hands were shaking. I pressed them against my thighs under the table. "I'm building a portfolio," I said. "That's how this industry works. You start with smaller projects. You build your reputation. That's not how the real world works, Mia. In the real world, you get a job that pays real money. You contribute. You build something of value." He leaned forward. "Do you know what Madison's bonus was this year? $40,000. She's 20. What's your earning potential as a designer? What's your 5-year plan? Your ROI?" I felt something crack inside my chest. "I'm not an investment, Dad. I'm your daughter." "You're both." He picked up his wine, took a long drink. "And frankly, you're a bad one. I invested in your education expecting returns. Instead, I got a degree in coloring books." Madison looked down at her plate. Mom's hand found mine under the table, squeezed once. But neither of them said anything. "I'm trying," I said, and I hated how small my voice sounded. "I know it's not what you wanted, but I'm good at this. I'm really good at this. And if I'd just, what?" He set down his glass hard enough that wine sloshed over the rim. If I'd just keep funding your little art project? Keep paying your bills while you chase a pipe dream? Mia, I'm a businessman. I don't throw good money after bad. Richard, please, Mom said. She just graduated. Give her time. Time? He laughed, but there was nothing funny in it. Jennifer, she's had 22 years. And what does she have to show for it? Some pictures on a laptop and a degree that qualifies her to work at Starbucks. That's when I stood up. My chair scraped loud against the tile. You're right, I said. My voice didn't shake anymore. You're absolutely right. This was a waste of your money. I'm a waste of your investment. So let me fix that for you. I walked straight to my room, pulled my old hiking backpack from the closet, and started throwing things into it. Clothes, laptop, charger, the external hard drive with all my design files, my mom's old film camera she'd given me when I started college. Mom appeared in the doorway. Mia, sweetheart, where are you going? I don't know yet. I zipped the backpack. But I can't stay here. You heard him. I'm a bad investment. He didn't mean... Yes, he did. I looked at her, really looked at her, and I saw it. The same quiet defeat I'd been watching for years. The way she made herself smaller around him. The way she never pushed back when it mattered. You could tell him he's wrong, I said softly. You could tell him I'm worth more than my earning potential. You could defend me. Her eyes filled with tears. It's not that simple. It really is, Mom. It really, really is. I kissed her cheek, grabbed my backpack, and walked back through the kitchen where Dad and Madison were still sitting. I'm leaving, I announced. Dad didn't even look up. Where are you going to go? Anywhere that isn't here. With what money? I'd been saving since I was 16. Babysitting money, birthday money, the paychecks from my campus job. I had $843 in my checking account. It wouldn't last long, but it was mine. I'll figure it out. He finally looked at me then. Really looked at me. And I expected anger, or maybe concern, or even that paternalistic condescension I'd lived with my whole life. Instead, he shrugged. Good luck, he said. You're going to need it. Design is for people who can't handle real work. Come back when you're ready to grow up and contribute something meaningful to the world. Madison was crying now. Dad, come on. Stay out of this, Madison. Your sister needs to learn that choices have consequences. He turned back to his paella. Leave your house key on the counter. My hands didn't shake when I pulled the key off my ring. I set it down next to the salt shaker with a small metallic click. I'll make you a deal, Dad, I said. When I come back to this house, it'll be because you asked me to, not the other way around. He laughed. Actually laughed. I won't hold my breath. I walked out at 8:47 p.m. on June 14th. I remember because I checked my phone in the driveway, standing next to my Honda Civic, a graduation gift from my grandmother, not him. So at least I had wheels and the time glowed back at me in the dark. 8:47. The moment my life split into before and after. I drove to a Denny's off 101 and ordered coffee. I didn't drink, just sat there for 2 hours trying to figure out what to do. My best friend from college was in Seattle starting a job at Amazon. Another friend was traveling in Europe. The one person I'd been dating casually had ghosted me 3 weeks earlier. I'd never felt more alone. At 11, I Googled cheapest motels near me and found a place in Mountain View for $48 a night. I could afford maybe 2 weeks if I ate nothing but ramen. Then I'd need a job. Any job. The motel smelled like cigarettes and Pine Sol. The TV got 3 channels. The sheets were clean but thin, and I could hear the couple next door having a very enthusiastic reunion through the wall. I lay in that bed staring at the popcorn ceiling, and I let myself cry for exactly 10 minutes. Full-body sobs, the kind that hurt your ribs. Then I stopped, wiped my face with the scratchy pillowcase, and opened my laptop. I had $800, a car, a design degree, and a whole lot of rage to prove my father wrong. I could work with that. The next morning, I drove to a Starbucks, the irony wasn't lost on me, and bought the cheapest thing on the menu so I could sit there all day using their Wi-Fi. I spent 9 hours applying to jobs, design positions at tech companies, junior designer roles at agencies, in-house positions at startups I'd never heard of. I applied to 47 jobs that first week. I got callbacks from 3, interviews with 2, job offers from 0. You've got a great portfolio, one hiring manager told me, but you don't have any real-world experience. Come back in a year when you've worked somewhere else first. The circular logic made me want to scream. By week 2, my motel money was running out. I had $200 left and no prospects. I started applying to retail jobs, restaurant positions, anything that would keep me off the street. That's when I met Keisha. I was sitting at a different coffee shop I'd been rotating through every cafe with free Wi-Fi in a 10-mile radius, when a woman about 30 sat down at the table next to mine with a laptop covered in startup stickers. She was on a video call, and I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but the coffee shop was small, and she wasn't exactly quiet. No, Marcus, I'm telling you, the interface is too cluttered. Users don't want 17 options on the homepage. They want 3 clear paths. That's conversion optimization 101? No, I don't care what the developers say is easier. We design for users, not developers. She caught me smiling and rolled her eyes, making a talking too much gesture with her hand. When she hung up, she let out a long breath. Sorry. You ever have coworkers who think more buttons equals better design? I don't have coworkers, I said. I don't have a job. But yes, that sounds infuriating. She laughed. Design background. Fresh graduate. Graphic design and UI. Lots of portfolio work. 0 industry experience. The catch-22. She tilted her head. Can I see your portfolio? I should have been more cautious. She could have been anyone. But I was desperate and tired and 2 weeks into the worst time of my life, so I pulled up my website on my laptop and turned it toward her. She scrolled through in silence. 30 seconds. A minute. 2. This is really good, she finally said. Like, actually good. Who'd you do this branding for? My friend's sister's bakery. She paid me $200. And this app interface? Spec Project. It's a concept for a mindfulness app that doesn't look like every other mindfulness app. Keisha kept scrolling, then looked up at me. What are you doing right now? Like, right this second? Trying not to panic about my dwindling bank account? Come with me. I should have said no, should have asked questions, should have done a lot of things differently. Instead, I closed my laptop and followed her. Keisha drove us 15 minutes to a co-working space in Sunnyvale. The kind with exposed brick and standing desks and a cold brew tap. She badged us through the front door and led me past clusters of people having very serious conversations about user acquisition and burn rate. I'm a product designer at a startup called Cloudbreak, she explained as we walked. We do workflow automation for small businesses. Very boring, very practical, desperately in need of a design refresh. Okay, our founder, James, is brilliant with code and terrible with people. Our lead developer quit last week because James told her the buttons she designed looked like something from 2008. We have a product launch in 6 weeks and no one working on interface design. She stopped in front of a glass-walled conference room where a guy who couldn't have been older than 28 was pacing, talking on the phone. That's James. You want me to work for him? I want you to save our asses. She knocked on the glass. James looked up, irritated, then saw Keisha and held up one finger. She turned to me. Here's the thing. We can't pay you much. We're pre-revenue, running on angel money, might implode in 6 months. But James gives equity to everyone who joins this early. And if we do make it, that equity could be worth something. How much equity? 0.5%. Which sounds like nothing, but if we exit at even 30 million, that's $150,000. My entire motel savings was $200. What's the catch? Honestly, James is difficult. The hours are brutal. We're basically trying to build in 6 months what should take 2 years. It's going to be chaos. James ended his call and came out. Keisha, I told you, I need designs by Monday. We can't just... He stopped, looking at me. Who's this? This is Mia. She's a designer. Look at her portfolio. Keisha shoved her phone at him, my website already pulled up. He scrolled for maybe 15 seconds. Can you start Monday? I blinked. Yes? Great. 0.5% equity. 30,000 salary. I know it's low, but we bump it when we raise our Series A. Keisha will send you the paperwork. We need new designs for the entire dashboard, the onboarding flow, and marketing site. Can you do that in 6 weeks? I can do it in 4. He smiled for the first time. I like you. Monday, 9 a.m. Don't be late. He walked back into the conference room, already on another call. I turned to Keisha, heart pounding. Did that just happen? Welcome to startup life. It's terrible. You'll love it. I worked 70-hour weeks for the next 4 weeks straight. I redesigned every pixel of Cloudbreak's interface. I learned Sketch and Figma and Principle. I sat in on user research calls and product meetings and engineer stand-ups. I drank so much coffee I started seeing in frames per second. It was the hardest I'd ever worked in my life. It was also the first time I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. We launched on time. The product got written up in TechCrunch. James's phone started ringing with investor calls. 6 months later, we raised our Series A, $3 million. My salary jumped to $70,000. My equity got diluted but was still worth something. 1 year later, we got acquired. Not some massive exit. Not billions. But Salesforce bought us for $48 million, and my 0.5% turned into $240,000 overnight. I was 23 years old, and I had $250,000 in my bank account. I didn't call my father. Instead, I took $50,000 and invested it in myself. I hired a career coach, took online courses in product strategy and business fundamentals, networked like my life depended on it. The rest I saved, because I'd slept in a $48 motel room, and I never wanted to feel that vulnerable again. The Salesforce acquisition came with a job offer. They wanted me to stay on as a senior product designer. $75,000 salary, full benefits, stock options. It felt like winning the lottery. I stayed for 2 years, learned how big tech companies worked, built products used by millions, got promoted to lead designer, then staff designer. My salary climbed to $130,000. I was 25, and I had more money than I knew what to do with. I still didn't call my father. Not when I got promoted. Not when I got written up in Design Milk. Not when I spoke at a conference in front of 800 people. I thought about him sometimes. Wondered if he'd heard about Cloudbreak's exit. If he'd Googled my name and seen the articles. If he felt even a flicker of regret. But mostly, I was too busy living my life to care about his opinion of it. Then I got the email that changed everything. It came on a Tuesday morning. The subject line was just one word: opportunity. The sender was Rachel Kim, founder and CEO of a company called Meridian. They built project management software for creative teams. They'd been around for 5 years, growing slowly but steadily, and they were looking for a chief marketing officer. Your design background combined with your product experience is exactly what we need, Rachel wrote. We don't just need someone to run marketing. We need someone who understands how to talk to creative professionals because they are one. The salary was $180,000, plus equity, plus a leadership role at 27 years old. I took the meeting. Then I took the job. That was 2 years ago. Now I'm 29. I'm the CMO of a Series B startup worth $80 million, and I have an office with windows that overlook the bay. My salary is $240,000. My equity is worth close to $2 million on paper, more if we exit well. I have a team of 12 people. I speak at conferences. I mentor young designers. I own a condo in Oakland with actual hardwood floors and a dishwasher that works. I built the life my father said I never would. And still, I didn't call him. Until last week, when he called me. I didn't recognize the number, almost didn't answer. But I was between meetings and curious, so I picked up. Mia, his voice sounded older, tired. It's your father. I sat down slowly in my desk chair. I know. He cleared his throat. I got your number from Madison. I hope that's okay. What do you need? I kept my voice neutral, professional, the voice I used with difficult stakeholders. I need to talk to you. In person, if possible. Are you still in the Bay Area? I am. Could I come see you? Maybe take you to lunch? Every instinct screamed no. But I was curious. After 7 years of silence, what could he possibly want? I'm busy, I said. which was true. But I have 30 minutes tomorrow at 2. You can come to my office. I gave him the address and hung up before he could respond. I didn't sleep well that night. I kept imagining scenarios. He wanted to apologize. He wanted to brag about Madison. He wanted to tell me I'd been right and he'd been wrong. None of my imagined scenarios were even close. At 1:55 the next afternoon, our receptionist called up. "Mia, there's a Richard Torres here to see you. Send him up." I stood by my office window, looking out at the city, trying to steady my breathing. I'd negotiated million-dollar contracts. I'd presented to boards of directors. I'd managed through product crises and team conflicts. But watching my father step out of the elevator carrying a manila folder, looking smaller than I remembered, I felt like I was 22 again, sitting at that dinner table, being told I was worthless. Then he saw me through the glass wall of my office, and his face did something complicated. I opened the door. "Dad." "Mia." He looked around the office, the windows, the desk with 2 monitors, the wall where I'd hung some of my favorite design work. This is impressive. "Thanks. Come in." He sat in one of my visitor chairs, the manila folder in his lap. He'd aged, more gray in his hair. Lines around his eyes I didn't remember. "You look good," he said. "Successful." "I am successful." I stayed standing, leaning against my desk, arms crossed. "You have 30 minutes. What do you want?" He flinched a little at my tone. "Good. I wanted to see you," he said. "To talk. It's been 7 years, Mia. You never called, never visited. You told me to leave. You said my degree was worthless and I'd never make anything of myself. Why would I call? I was angry. I said things I didn't mean. You meant every word." I checked my watch. 28 minutes. He opened the folder, pulled out a paper, slid it across my desk. It was a resume. His resume. I stared at it without touching it. "What is this?" "I'm looking for work." His voice cracked a little. "My company went under 8 months ago. We made some bad investments, took on too much debt. We filed for bankruptcy in February. I've been trying to find a position since then, but," he gestured vaguely. "Tech moves fast. 56-year-old ex-CEOs with failed companies on their record aren't exactly in high demand." I picked up the resume, scanned it. 25 years of experience, a degree from MIT, a company he built from nothing. And at the bottom, under references available upon request, he'd written in pen, "Any position considered." "Why are you showing me this?" He looked at his hands. "Madison mentioned you're at a leadership level now, that you might have openings on your team." I thought maybe. The silence stretched out between us. "You want me to hire you?" "I want a chance." He looked up finally. "I'm not asking for a C-level position. I'm not asking for special treatment. I just need work, Mia. I need income. Your mother and I lost the house. We're renting a 2-bedroom in Fremont. Madison's helping with money, but she's got her own expenses. And she lost her job, too." Madison lost her job? She was CFO at a fintech startup. They got investigated for fraud. She wasn't involved, but when it came out, investors pulled funding. The company folded. He rubbed his face. "It's been a hard year." I set down his resume. "Let me make sure I understand. 7 years ago, you threw me out because I was a bad investment. You told me design was for failures. You said I'd never contribute anything meaningful to the world. And now you're here, in my office, asking me for a job. I was wrong." His voice was barely a whisper. "God, Mia, I was so wrong. About you. About what matters. About everything. Keep going." I thought success was money and status and building something that would last. I built a company, and it failed. I pushed my daughters into careers I thought were safe, and they both struggled. Meanwhile, he gestured around the office. You did exactly what you said you'd do. You became exactly who you said you'd be. And I missed it. I missed all of it because I was too proud and too stupid to admit I was wrong. I waited. "I'm sorry," he said. "I'm sorry for what I said. I'm sorry for throwing you out. I'm sorry for not being there when you struggled. I'm sorry for not calling when you succeeded. I'm sorry for being the kind of father who values quarterly returns over his own daughter's happiness." My throat felt tight. That's a good apology. Does it change anything? I looked at his resume again. Really looked at it. Thought about 22-year-old me, sitting in that Denny's at 11 p.m., wondering how I'd survive the next week. Thought about all the people who helped me when they didn't have to. Keisha, James, Rachel. Strangers who saw potential instead of profit margins. Thought about the fact that I had the power now, that he was the one asking, that I could say no and there would be nothing he could do about it. It would feel so good to say no. I don't have any openings at my level, I said finally. His face fell. But we're hiring for a junior marketing analyst position. Entry level. $45,000 a year. You'd be doing competitive research, pulling data, making slide decks. You'd report to my director of marketing, who's 26 and has half your experience, but twice your humility. He stared at me. The job is yours if you want it, I continued. But I need to be clear about something. I'm not doing this because you're my father. I'm not doing this because I forgive you. I don't, not yet. Maybe not ever. I'm doing this because someone gave me a chance when I needed it, and because I believe people can change. But if you take this job, you work for me. You follow my rules. You treat my team with respect. And if you ever talk to someone the way you talked to me 7 years ago, you're done. Understood? He nodded, and I saw tears in his eyes. Understood. Good. Send your resume to HR. Reference this conversation. Start date is 2 weeks from Monday. I checked my watch. Your 30 minutes are up. He stood slowly, picked up the folder, paused at the door. Mia? Yeah? Thank you. And I'm proud of you. I should have said that 7 years ago. I should have said it every day. But I'm saying it now. I'm proud of you. I nodded, not trusting my voice. He left. I sat down at my desk and stared at my monitors without seeing them. My hands were shaking. I felt exhausted and energized and angry and sad and vindicated all at once. My phone buzzed. A text from Madison. Did Dad really come see you? I typed back, yeah. What happened? I gave him a job. You what? I smiled. Long story. Coffee this weekend? Absolutely. Mia. Thank you for giving him a chance. I'm not doing it for him. I'm doing it because it's who I want to be. I set down my phone and looked around my office. At the career I'd built. At the life I'd created. At the view that used to seem impossible. 7 years ago, my father told me I was worthless. Today, he asked me for a job. I guess design isn't for failures after all.